Welcome to the Lavish Show, where all things lavish. I'm your host, Shira Stallworth. I thank you for joining me every Friday night at 7:30 p.m. You are a great blessing to my ministry. I thank you for supporting me. If you want to also send donations, you can send it to Creative Women Enterprises at paypal.com. Today, we have a great entrepreneur on the show today. He goes by the name of David Pittman from Gautier, Mississippi. He's one of the first producers that produced my season 1 shows. So sit back and relax because things are about to get lavish.
It gets better and better. 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 It gets better and better.
Welcome back to the Lavish Show. I'm your host, Lavish, also known as Shira Stallworth. I mean, you're my family, and I love my supporters, and I love my audience. Today, we have a great entrepreneur on the show from Gautier, Mississippi. He goes by the name of David Pittman. How are you, David?
I'm doing well, Shira. What about yourself?
I'm great and blessed, and I thank you for being here today.
And I thank you.
I truly do from the bottom of my heart.
Likewise, I thank you.
All right, well, I just want my audience to know, a little bit about Mr. David Pittman. My season 1 of the Lavish Show could not come into existence without this man right here, David Pittman. And I mean, I met him a couple of years back. He was washing cars, very hard worker. He washed one of my vehicles, and I was like, goodness, this man has some work ethics. And he began to tell me about his vision, starting his own business, starting his own industry, doing movies, videos. He just wanted to do something for the community. And when he had told me that he wants to put together a show, I really had to step back and say, this man came out of nowhere like an angel and wanted to push something out of me. And I really thank God for him today, because if it wasn't for David Pittman coming into my life, I wouldn't have the Lavish Show. Of course, my God, but he put him in my life for a reason. So I brought him on the show today so the listeners and the audience can know who is David Pittman. So I'm going to tell you from heart to heart. You are a phenomenal black brother.
Thank you.
You are a great entrepreneur. And because of you, you have changed a lot of people's lives.
Thank you.
And I thank God for that. So tell our audience, who is David Pittman?
First of all, I want to start off by thanking God for allowing me to live another day.
Yes.
And for giving me another opportunity to surrender my will to Him.
All right.
Second, I want to thank you for allowing me to be on your show. And I want to thank you also for giving me the opportunity to record season 1 of your show.
Oh, wow.
So the question, who is David Pittman? That's a very good question, because I'm still trying to figure out who David Pittman is. But it's a journey that I've taken, and it's a continuous journey.
Right.
With each passing second, minute, hour, and day, I'm coming to discover more about myself.
Right.
And as a matter of fact, I think that each and every person should try to discover who they are.
That's right.
And as you said, as she said, I washed cars for a living at one point. I started off wanting to be an entrepreneur because of my circumstances and my situation. I went to prison, as I told you.
Wow.
Yeah, and I spent in 2 states. I spent a great number of years in prison, maybe more than a decade.
See, our people need to hear that,
Right.
that, before to me, you're successful.
Thank you.
To me, you're successful. You're doing what you need to do, what you was created to do.
Right.
So when you say prison, and that you're finding yourself,
Right.
was prison a part of you finding yourself?
Yes, it was. It was. It's like Moses, for instance. When
Right.
Moses went to the burning bush, he was alone. Of course, I was in prison with other people, but I was actually alone.
Right.
And Moses, when he went to the burning bush, he found out what his mission was.
Right, right.
So when I went to prison, that's when I discovered that I had to do more for myself and become more than I was prior to prison.
Right.
And, as when I got out, of course, I tried to get jobs here and there. People would hire me.
Yeah, talk about
exactly. And I would put that I had a felony or felonies, in my case, down.
Right.
And they didn't want to touch me.
Right.
So, and then when I put that I had a felony down, when I didn't put it, they would eventually find out and get rid of me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, you know, there was an old teaching that says, do for yourself, you know, and that's what I had to do. It's either do for myself or I wouldn't eat.
Right, right. So in prison, you kind of learn how to, you know, have ethics, put it that way,
Exactly.
work ethics, and how to believe in something, you
Right.
know, and put action behind your words.
That's right.
Because you knew you weren't going to be in there long, did you? Or did you kind of like, you know?
Well, depending on where you're doing time at, you know, you could be in there that 100% of your time.
Right.
Depending on whether they want to let you out, where they want to get parole, or whatever the laws are,
Right.
where you're doing prison at. If they give you a 5-year sentence or a 10-year sentence, you can just look forward to doing that 5 or 10 years.
Right.
And anything that's less of that, then that's a blessing. So, you know, I look forward to doing whatever time I had to do. And, you know, on one of the occasions, God blessed me to get out early.
Good.
And that was actually the last occasion. And, you know, I just took advantage of, you know, the situation that we have out here. Because, you know, you only have one life to live.
Right.
And I'm 43 years old right now.
Okay.
And there's things that I should already have in my life.
Okay, okay.
But I don't have them in my life because of the wrong decisions that I made 20 years ago.
Right,
You see?
right. So what would you tell somebody today that's young, you know, that feel like, you know, there's nothing out here available for him because he might have a rap sheet,
Right.
or he might have been to juvenile, or she might have did something, you know? How would you encourage that young brother or that young sister?
Well, let me say it like this. Not only am I going to encourage them, but I have to encourage their family members and their close friends.
Right, come on.
If you have a son, a nephew, a niece, a cousin, a friend, or whoever that's incarcerated, you have to attempt to help that individual
Right.
the best that you can, because when he or she is released from prison, you know, there are some who can get jobs when they get out because they might not have violent charges, or they might not have a long rap sheet, or they may know someone. But there's many who get out and they can't get any jobs. You have to give that person the benefit of the doubt, at least try.
Right.
Give that person encouragement. If they can't get a job, then try to find some resources that person can start their own business. They might be, they might have some type of skill like myself.
Right.
I didn't know that, you know, I was a skilled videographer and photographer.
Right.
Until I started delving into that.
Let's talk about that a little bit. So what are you doing now? We're going to go back to the prison thing, but what have you done so far? I already told the audience that he produced the season 1 of the Lavish Show and did it well. What kind of gifts came up out of you through your testimony and things like that? Let the audience know what you're doing, you know, now.
Well, for one, I'm a community man.
Okay.
I love working with people in the community. I've worked with several different pastors that have had events in which they attempt to help the community in one way or the other. I've worked with pastors out of Bay St. Louis, pastors out of Moss Point, pastors out of Gautier. I've worked with 2 different people who ran for 3 different people who ran for 3 different offices.
Wow.
And at least one of those persons won. Another one came very close to winning.
Okay.
And I'm just in the community, you know.
Right.
And I just like helping people. You know, it is about the money because this is what I do. You know, but at the same,
you have to get paid for doing what you do.
Exactly.
You know, it's nothing free.
Right. It's not.
You have to get paid. So,
Right.
and I'm a firm believer. You
Right.
know, because if a man don't work, he don't eat.
That's
so
right. And if a woman don't work, she don't eat.
That's what it's turning into today,
That's
right?
right, that's right.
So you're exactly right. And that's a great word to the young people today, that you got to work.
You have to work.
You have to work. And I don't care if the job is flipping hamburgers.
Right, right.
You have to work. I told y'all how I met Mr. Pittman. You
Right.
know, he said, can I wash your car? He was going to businesses
Right.
and dropping his card off, dropping
I
his
was.
card off.
Yeah.
And I said, I really need somebody. And I had just went through a divorce. I didn't have nobody wash my car, nothing. He
right.
said, I'll wash your car.
Right.
And when he washed my car, I was like, this man got some work ethics. He's going to stay around for a long time. And I see that everything that you do right now, you advertising your promos, you
Right.
got wedding things that you're
Right,
doing,
right.
you're filming,
Right.
you're about to get into the movie thing now, right?
I am. As a matter of fact, I'm glad you brought that up.
Yes.
I'm currently writing writing another book, because I've written several.
Okay.
But I'm trying to turn one of my books into like a screenplay.
Right.
Maybe like a 45-minute movie. that I can
Okay.
make. And you know, it's in the making. Maybe about another year I plan on, doing that.
What what gets me is so much talent in Mississippi.
Right, right.
You know, they always look down on Mississippi
Right,
and
right,
say
right.
we're in the backside of the desert.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing. You're a director. You're
Right.
going to be one of the greatest director, even in this studio. The guy that records this show, season 2, he's going to be a famous director. And what we need to do is recognize what we have here on the coast.
Right, right.
And you need to be recognized,
Thank
because
you.
it's not about me. It's not about, having pride, but it's about letting other people light shine as well.
Right, right,
And I
right.
mean, you're just phenomenal with
Thank you.
even with the show that you did for me, and even I see your work on Facebook, social media, the things that you're
thank you.
doing. What else you doing?
I'm also running, managing people's Facebook business pages.
Oh, okay.
And I found out that was a very reputable and profitable market.
Okay.
And a lot of the services that I offer are not the same as the current media marketers out there, because they only offer a few things for a lot of money.
Right.
And everybody can't afford that.
Right.
So I'm trying to find that particular consumer and market where they really don't have a lot of money. They would like to build a brand and a business, but they would like to be able to do it at an affordable rate.
Right.
And that's what I'm doing.
Now,
Right.
the audience, you can
Right.
tell he does not sound like somebody from the backside of the desert, from prison. He's got a lot of education, I'm telling you. And also, even with my show, he will bring things out of me. He'll say, well, Lavish, you need to do this, or you need to incorporate this and that. And I listen, and it worked. And that's one thing I like about Mr. Pittman. Not only can he write, not only can he record and do things like that, but he's skilled in a lot of things. And that's what I like when you ran that campaign for that phenomenal lady that's in one of the cities in Mississippi. You ran her campaign and different things like that. What motivates you? What gets you going?
Well, this is what motivates me right here. I hate to see people on the bottom. I hate to see people on the bottom when there's enough wealth in this country, in this world, where no one has to scrounge around, just barely surviving, just barely able to make their bills on a weekly basis or monthly basis.
Right.
I like to help people.
Right.
And that's what really motivates and drives me, because see, I've been at the lowest of the low.
Come on.
And when I was at the lowest of the low, there was only a few who reached out to help me, but I would see others who had no help whatsoever.
Right.
So to see that children are coming up in a world where for the most part, there's a lot of love in the world, but then for the most part, this is a cold-blooded world.
It is.
And a lot of people are being left out to dry. A lot of people are hungry.
Right.
A lot of people don't have clothes.
Right.
Their education is not quality education. That's what motivates and drives me, because I have grandchildren, you have children. And when I see our children, I don't want to see our children grow up, not saying that we grew up bad, but there were certain things that we lacked.
Right, right.
And now we're in the day and age of information.
That's right.
So all you have to do, 20 years ago, I would have had to pay about $20,000 to obtain the skills that I learned on my own.
Right.
But see, now they can click on YouTube.
That's right.
They can Google something, and they can find out the information they need in order to take action or take on a project or whatever endeavor it is that they're trying to
That's right.
move on.
To move on.
Right.
And I know that about you. Every time we will do something different, you say, well, Lavish, I'm reading on this and I'm reading on that. We're going to incorporate this and that. You never stop learning.
Right.
And that's what I like. He never starts learning, and
Right.
you support people.
Right.
I just seen where you was at the man cave.
Right.
Shout out to Lana Martin,
Yeah,
April
Lana,
Martin,
Apostle.
Pastor.
Yeah, Apostle
Jeanette
Martin. That's right.
What is it, Life and Deliverance?
Life and Deliverance Ministries.
You was there
Right.
supporting all, and that was like for all the men to come together, right?
Right.
All the men,
It
and
was-
you were there, and that's awesome. And
Right.
you're a great support and a pillar in the community.
Right, I try to be.
Well, how can we get in touch with you? You know, if someone wants to reach out to you to do movies,
Right.
films, and I'm gonna tell you this now. A pastor gave me a play, and he wants me to put it together.
Right.
You know, so I want to incorporate everybody in
Right,
this
right,
to
right.
make it be the best that it can be.
Right.
So, and I'm gonna use you, brother.
Right, I
You're my
appreciate that.
brother.
I
I'm
appreciate that.
telling you.
Yeah.
But how can they get in contact with you, find out more about you, if they want their movies, their weddings done, photos? He's a photographer, videographer,
Right.
whatever they need. How can they contact you?
You can personally call me at 228-281-9126, or you can go to my Facebook business page at www.facebook.com/ads=loot, and the word loot, LOOT, is capitalized. Or you can email me at absolute advertising, that's absolute spelled ABSOLOOT, advertising with a Z, not an S, at gmail.com.
All right. I always ask my guests, you know, some funny looking questions or funny sounding questions. What is the most pet peeve that you have dealing with people? We can talk politics. Next time I have you on the show, we're going to talk politics.
Okay, great.
He's good in politics. But what is some of your pet peeves, what you see going on in the community today?
This is a pet peeve for me. Okay. I'm not going to name any places or anything like that. But if someone treats you bad and you do business with that person and they treat you bad and you continue to go back and do business with that person, why you continue to put your money in that person's pocket?
Right.
Yeah. I see so many, particularly African Americans, they real good about this. Not bad, but real good about it. Because that's what they do. They put money in certain places and they give it to certain markets, and the people care nothing for them.
Okay.
You know, and really that's with any business. That's like a real big pet peeve of me. When somebody has the information and they see something that's wrong and they know it's wrong,
Right.
but they continue to delve into it. What do they
Right.
say, to continue to do something over and over,
and
and
over.
expecting a different result? That's insanity. You know, so that's like a real pet peeve to me. When I was growing up, I only had a few people that were around me that could give me solid advice.
That's right.
Sometimes I followed it and sometimes I didn't. But now you don't even have to have anybody around you to give you advice, because social media is so wide and so
open.
large
Right.
that you can see it for yourself, and you still delve into stupidity and foolishness.
Because we limit ourselves.
Right,
I
right.
feel like if God gives you the wisdom, God
Right.
gives you the wisdom to step out on faith.
Right.
And that's basically what you did. You know,
Right.
you went from the pit to the palace almost, from
Right.
jail, sleeping.
Right.
And, you know, now you're out, you're doing business, you're an entrepreneur, you're getting money, you're doing
Right.
what you need to do. So that is just phenomenal for me to, you know, actually see God at work in your life.
Right.
Because we don't come together as a people
No, we don't.
either.
No, we don't.
You know, if my brother is over here starting a business,
Right.
we should help each other.
We should help each other,
But we
yeah.
have so much hatred and anger
Right.
and envy, and we try to
Right.
put blockages. And my
Right,
brother's
right.
building a church. Instead of us supporting him, we start talking, oh, they not real. or
Right, right.
They this and
Right.
they that. And that's not cool, you
Right.
know? And that's what I see what you just said.
Well, you know, I want to say this when you touched on that. One of the things that I suggested, and you know, God willing, we can make it happen.
Right.
Is that the pastors that really won't change, that are not about feeding themselves
Right.
and neglecting their flock,
Right.
they should establish a coalition where there are no big I's and no little U's.
That's right.
Where this person is not trying to outshine the next person.
That's right.
If you say that you are about the business of kingdom building and about the business of Christ, then look around you.
What does the Bible?
There's plenty to be done.
That's right.
Right.
The fields are white, and then the laborers are
Right.
few.
Exactly.
Well, Mr. Pittman, I'm so glad to have you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I appreciate you
Thank
so
you.
much. And I thank the listeners, the audience, for tuning in to The Lavish Show. I'm your host, Shira Stallworth. Make sure you join me every Friday night at 7:30 p.m. This will not be the last time you see Mr. Pittman, because we will get into politics and different things, what's going on in our country. Thank you.
Thank you.
There's plenty of money to be made, and I want to help you make it. My name is David Pittman. I'm the CEO of Absolute Advertising, and I am the king of the internet video promo. I can manage your Facebook business page, create flyers, handle your photography, and create a slew of internet video promos for your business at a price that you would be a fool to walk away from. All agreements in writing. No games. Quality service. Email or call me today to discuss and plan a package of my services tailored just for you.